Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. It is the Monday Morning Money Show with Billy W. Merritt. My name is Billy W. Merritt. If you don't know me, then you haven't been on Facebook very much. So I would like to introduce myself. My name is Billy Merritt, and I have the most effective product in the entire car business. Now, that is a big offer. That's a big claim. How can I so boldly and confidently make such a claim? The proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the sales. The proof is in the money. We have made a lot of dealers a lot of money. We have the fastest growing business in the car business, and we have served over 2,000 dealers nationwide. Now, normally I have a guest for you, but I have a lot of guests today, and I want to have a conversation with you. Smith, thank you for and Jeremy and Brady, thank you for the setup. We are still missing our huge monitors that are going to be back here behind us with 6 different screens. That's going to be awesome. Can't wait for that. In the meantime, you get to see the colorful and artsy world. I think that's a world map. That's a flat map, by the way. I'm scared. You know what? I better not say that. They may
consider you're a flat earther.
Don't say that. They will absolutely, they will ban you and they will suppress your videos if you say things like that. We got some new Digi Ninja swag, don't we?
We do. I believe you got a koozie over there.
If you'd like a koozie, just give us a comment and maybe we can send a koozie out to you. Give us a comment. And so Smith is my producer. He is behind the scenes. We're also going to have a camera to zoom in on him pretty soon, where it won't seem like someone is talking from behind the wall or on the other side of the camera. We'll actually be able to see him. Today is the Monday Morning Money Show. We've had some amazing guests on here, and today I want to talk to you about a lot of the people that I've learned from and share with you some very specialized knowledge that I've learned that you can put into action today. There's many ways to learn. A lot of people like to learn from experience. That's very effective. I've learned a lot from experience. A lot of people like to learn from books and from leading. A lot of people like to learn from lectures. A lot of people like to learn from YouTube videos. I like to read and put into action what I've read. Now, I've stated before that when I read something, I ask myself a very, very important question. Does this person know what they're talking about? Or are they full of it? Okay. That's the rated G, the G-rated answer to that question. You gotta ask yourself, does the person telling me this know what they're talking about, or are they full of it? Now, if they know what they're talking about and the subject is on money, then it's a very good idea to listen to that person. Excuse me while I take a sip of the Digi Ninja Billy Merritt Marketing Power Water. Did you guys spike it with something good today, Smith?
Hope so.
So, how's the volume? Sounds a little, the level's a little low over here in my ears.
I can turn you up.
Here's what I want to do. If anyone has any comments or any questions, I want to hear from you. I want you, turn it on up. I want you to ask the question that you want the answer to, and I am going to help you answer it. Now, there again, if I'm having a money show, you have to ask yourself, is he qualified to give me advice on money? Well, I'll tell you this. I started reading one book per week at age 33. And for 10 straight years, from age 33, with very few exceptions, I'm sure there were some weeks in there when I slipped, but from age 33 to age 43, I read an average of one book per week. And here's a few of those books. I find it interesting that people who say they're interested in a subject don't study that subject. Okay. If you're a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer, you have a lot of studying that you have to do. For some reason, a large portion of people who are in sales and marketing and business in general, they may study their craft, but they don't study the part of their craft that actually makes the money, which is sales. Every business relies on sales. If your sales department is not super productive, then you are not going to make a lot of money with your business. I got a text from one of my good friends before the show today, and I'm going to paraphrase what he told me. And what I want this to be is a real conversation. So Smith, if you have any questions, or if you want to ask, if you have any questions, or if you have any insights, or if someone comments something, I want to make this an open-ended discussion, because so many podcasts are simply commercials, or are simply, they have an agenda of the person running the podcast. Now, I'll tell you my agenda. I'll be very transparent. I want to help people. I feel like if I help enough people, if I open enough minds, if I open enough eyes to some ideas that maybe you didn't have before, that you can actually implement and that will help you, I think that's going to make the world a better place. I'm that optimistic. Call me a dreamer, but I truly believe that we can make a difference by helping people. And I know for a fact that every one of these books have helped me tremendously. Each one of these books has helped me tremendously. Okay. And I will give you the cliff notes, if you will, because you can listen to me and what I've learned from these books. And I can tell you each book individually exactly what one thing, what two things, or what the main thing was that helped me, if it did indeed help me. Maybe some of these books didn't help me. I'll be very honest about them. But that's my agenda. I want to help people. And I think that if I help enough people, that I'll have an opportunity to help even more people. I truly like helping people. Smith, have I helped you since you've known me?
Absolutely.
Elaborate.
Well, I guess in general, since I've been here overall, I've obviously learned more about just communicating with people, obviously selling myself, and how to hype up my product or my service properly. And since I've started this position itself, this has been a huge help, because for one, it is pretty fast paced. You expect a certain number of things to come out on a regular basis, and you expect to be able to throw things out that are a little spontaneous, and often big projects. And getting into the rhythm where you're doing that in and out every day, actually getting into that flow where things start to become muscle memory because you're just doing them every single day. That is one of the best things that can help you to get good at any art, no matter what you're doing. People like to spend a lot of time, and I do the same thing, perfecting a project that may take days to finish. But if you can get 3 things out every day, you will improve at a rapid rate.
So I was videoing you there, and I'm putting on Snapchat over here.
Sounds good.
Because you know that I like to get our story out there as much as possible. They won't be able to hear the audio very much, probably. But so I do appreciate that. And I know that Ray Mucci commented. So I want to make this as much about the viewers as possible. Now, I am going to read something that's very, very helpful and eye-opening, and I'm going to talk about these books. Let's see who has been nice enough to comment already.
We got 2 from Ray Mucci. He says, "Can I get a new Digi Ninja merch drop sample pack, please?"
The old sample pack. We can see what we can do about that.
Sir. And he also says, "Buyback Billy is a salesperson's advocate. That's why I tune in daily."
Ray's definitely implemented some of the things we talk about on the show. And my friend who sent me a text message this morning, let me tell you what he said. You know what? I'm going to read it. I'm not being rude. I'm going to read the text message so I can give you the exact.
Not putting any words in anybody's mouth.
Lots of messages here. Wow. Some of them I probably didn't need to view right now. We got couple of problems we need to solve. Let me find, and I get a lot of text. Here we go. Excuse me about that. I've been watching your videos. Now, I'm not going to tell this person's name because he's not one to share his personal story very much. If he wants to in the future, that's wonderful. I've been watching your videos and something dawned on me. I'm an expert of a lot of things. I know how to fish, hunt, guns, scopes, bows, electricity, mechanical, machine, welding, and other stuff. All that's good. None of it makes you rich. I'm too focused on knowledge of things that aren't going to make me wealthy. I need to be researching finance, real estate, sales, business. I've got to refocus on my learnings on more beneficial things. That's only half true. So I want to break it down to what this gentleman is good at. Or it could be a lady. She's good at fishing, hunting, guns, scopes, bows, electrical, like an electrical engineer, mechanical, machinery, welding, etc. That's great. I know a little bit about some of those things, you know. But if I was an expert at all those things. Now, by the way, I know this person very well, and he is an absolute expert at all these things. And he thinks that these things are the wrong thing to be focused on. That's only half true, and I'll explain. He thinks he should focus on finance, real estate, sales, and business. Okay? Well, unless you're going to be finance, look up finance while I'm talking about this. Real estate, sales, and business. I'm not sure that focusing on finance, real estate is going to help you necessarily, unless you just decide you want to switch to becoming a real estate investor. And there's a lot of other ways to create wealth other than real estate or even finance. You need to know some finance things, but it's, I have a financial advisor who helps me with financial situations, and I have an accountant. I don't have to be an expert at those things. Now, it is good to know those things, but he did nail one thing. He said he needed to be focused on finance, real estate, sales, and business. I totally agree. Now, if I was an expert at fishing, hunting, guns, scopes, bows, electrical, mechanical, machinery, and welding, I could focus on sales and business and become wealthy using those things. Smith, we've had this conversation about you with you're an expert at playing the guitar. You're an expert at entertainment, an expert at music, video production. And I'm going to try to add enough value to your life that you use all that expertise and continue to be here with me. But if I was as talented as you, I would be famous for a whole nother reason, right?
Right.
So the difference by the way, let's talk about what I'm an expert at. What would you say I'm an expert at, Smith?
Sales is the obvious one.
Okay.
Social media marketing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing digital marketing in general.
Okay.
Let's see. Communication skills.
Okay, that's good. So I'll agree with that. Communication, marketing, social media marketing, Facebook marketing, and sales. There's plenty of people that know a whole lot about social media marketing. There's plenty of people that know a whole lot about social media in general. There's plenty of people that know a whole lot about communicating. There's some amazing speakers out there. But the key to it all is sales. If I was an expert at all those things, but I wasn't an expert at sales, then we wouldn't have this show. We would not have worked for 2,000 car dealers across the country. And my asset column, which I keep it right here, would be much different than it is. So again, I want this to be a conversation. The purpose of a conversation is to put ideas out there, sometimes opposing ideas, and then you are left with the main theme, or maybe a discovery, and maybe you've created something that you didn't, or maybe you learned something that you didn't know before. You don't have to start every conversation like a political argument and think that you're trying to make your points. I think it's very unhealthy to do that. I think it's very healthy to have an honest conversation, to put it out there, to talk yourself and think yourself through it, and then see what you learned from the conversation.
I think one great thing that people often don't keep in mind, and I cannot remember exactly who I got this from, but they said when you are having a debate or a discussion like this, keep in mind the people whose minds you're going to change are typically not going to be the people who agree with you or agree with them. They're going to be the people who are not quite there on the decision yet.
Okay, I will agree with you on that, and that's usually a very limited amount of people. So maybe this podcast, I'm not trying to change minds with the podcast. I'm trying to help people. So the best way I can help you is to be honest with you and tell you that being an expert doesn't mean you're going to have money. This is a money show. Our business has grown from in 3 years from 0 monthly revenue to $600,000 per month in revenue. And we don't have inventory. So that's all service. That's all for our services rendered. Okay. Actually, that's not true because half of our business gets billed through our sister company. So we're over $1 million per month in revenue, and we feed a lot of people very well. We have over 40, somewhere around 40 to 50 employees. That number fluctuates because of not vendors, because of salespeople, and according to how many staffers we have or need for an event, but over 50 at all, over 40 at all times, and up to 50. And it also has a very high profit margin. And that means that we're doing some things right. It's not that we are an expert only. It's that we know how to market this and how to monetize it through sales. So in this open-ended conversation that we're having right here, the key point so far is sales is king. If you're not focused on sales in your business, then you don't have a business. You have a job. Okay. Key point number 2, if you want a lot of money, you have to become a business owner. You can be a small business owner. I'm a small business owner. But if you want to make a lot of money, you can be an employee, but you also have to be a business owner. Smith, you know why it's so important to be a business owner if you want to make a lot of money?
I guess the first thing would be that obviously there are more tax benefits that you can begin taking advantage of.
Our business, that you've been listening. Very good. Our biggest expense in life is taxes. Do we have any new comments? Our biggest expense in life is taxes. And when you become a business owner, a lot of your expenses become tax deductible. Like this office and this equipment. When you're an employee, or you, Smith, when you're an employee and you buy, how much did that computer that I just bought you, how much did it cost?
After taxes and shipping, probably about $2,300.
$2,300. Now, if you're a gamer, you're an employee, and you're a gamer, and you buy that computer, guess how much tax benefit you get?
Zilch.
0. As a business owner, me using that for you to create these videos, guess how much tax benefit I get?
I'm guessing it's a couple $100.
Well, what it is that $2,200. I'll have to check with my accountant on this because it is equipment. I was about to say something that may not be true. Here's what I know. That whole $2,200 gets some type of tax treatment. We'll probably depreciate the entire thing for the entire year. I think that's true. I'm not giving tax advice, but I do know that it's going to benefit me tax wise. Maybe we can depreciate the whole thing in 1 year. If that's the case, then that $2,300 comes off of my income, and I'm not taxed on it at all. and we have an awesome computer that's going to help us reach more people. Okay. So you have to be in business, and you have to be a business. You have to be a business owner. You have to be focused on sales. And then what you do with your money is the next most important thing. You have to know the difference between an asset and a liability. I'm gonna go through some books real quick. Do we have any?
Yes.
Yes, have some comments.
Joey Arvidsson said, Billy is a shining example of how hard work, a really big offer, and relentless determination pay off. He has become an absolute expert in our business.
Thank you, Joey. I'm going to add to that. Okay, hard work, absolutely. You got to be willing to work long, and hard. I think for 10 years I worked every Saturday of my life as well. Being an expert in our business, because our business is sales, I'll totally agree with you. But if I was not an expert at sales, then all of this wouldn't be happening. It's all about the sales. Sales cures all. If you're not in sales, if you're not focused on sales, you're not in business. Let's go to Carson Henry's question right there.
Can you talk about scaling, when to add sales, support staff, and the cost benefit of doing so?
Yes. So leave that up there for me. Thank you, Carson. Thank you very much for the wonderful question. Can you talk about scaling? So if you're not scaling or focusing on scaling right now, then you don't have a business, you have a job. So should you be scaling? Yes. Regardless of the size of your business, you should be scaling. That's what our growth economy is based on, is scaling. Okay. Now, Carson, if you will, tell me the exact nature of your business. All I can do right now is use my business for an example. If you're not growing, you're dying. So when do you scale? Right now. When do you add sales? Right now. The first thing I did when I had 0 employees was try to hire a salesperson. And Joey, who just commented earlier, was the first salesperson that I called. A good salesperson, a great salesperson, has a lot of other qualities as well. So, that salesperson can be a digi ninja. They can be an accounting. They can be accounting. They can be accounts receivable, accounts payable. They can be customer relations. They can be your back office. They can be your front office. But their main job is sales. If you're not selling, then you're not growing. If you're not scaling, you don't have a business. You have a job. So scale now. It's like in the sales process, the road to the sale. Caleb Wilson and I, who've trained a lot of dealers, and he has his show on Thursday with me, the Digi Ninja Dealer Academy. Our road to the sale is, when do you appraise the car? Right now. That's the first step. Let's appraise the car, because that's what the customer is most concerned about, is their trade-in. When do you scale? Right now. Scale right now. Okay. So when do you add sales? Add sales right now. Okay. Hopefully, I hope he tells us exactly the nature, and I should probably know, I'm sorry, the nature of his business. You going to look it up for me, Smith?
Sure thing.
Okay. You should be scaling now. You should be adding salespeople right now. Support, you add support as needed. Like when you and your salespeople are doing so much that you almost can't get it done, then you're going to have to hire somebody. In the beginning, automotive window stickers, is that his business? Okay. First of all, let's, you know what, Carson? Here's what I'm going to say. When someone goes to your Facebook page, we need to fix this right now, buddy. When somebody goes to your Facebook page, we should be able to tell within seconds exactly what you do. Okay. So Smith in the background was looking to see exactly what you did from your Facebook page, and we couldn't see it. Don't put it up there.
Don't.
No.
I'm sure he knows where it goes. But
did he give us another comment there?
I provide marketing automation for auto dealers, home site developers, insurance companies, etc.
Okay, so just a simple fact, the way he answered that right there lets me know he's a very intelligent, very articulate, and very smart guy. Okay, now, so what I want you to do, Carson, first thing to improve, to get your sales up, we've got to go. We don't need to see the fishing, that we don't need to see the boat and the fishing right there. We need to go to your website, your Facebook page, and we need to see your business. We need to see what it is you do. We need to see your big offer. We need to see some things that are explained to me very simply what you do. So you need to focus on sales, but you're your number one salesperson. You are your number one salesperson. So it needs to be very clear. Your elevator pitch needs to be exactly what it is you do. Put my Facebook page up there, Smith. And the reason, listen, this is the Billy Merritt Show, by the way. But the reason I can use my page as an example is because we built a tremendous business. We went from zero revenue to $1 million per month revenue in 3 years. So if you click on my right there, so
here we go.
Boom.
So it's in the header. It's in your intro.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, if you go to your about, you're going to see it as well. Mm-hmm. It's essentially everywhere. And of course, you post constantly. Yep. So it's always there.
Yep, absolutely. So you need to scale now. You need to get you some salespeople, that know, that can articulate, that know your pitch, and that can make some money selling your product and scale now. So I want to read that. I provide marketing automation for auto dealers. That's cool. Okay. So home site developers and insurance companies. That's great. So multi-industry, automation is awesome. So that makes it even easier to scale. If you've got automation, you can scale even faster. So scale quickly, scale now, get as many salespeople as can make a lot of money selling your product as you can. You need to have as many salespeople as you can now that are worthy of your product, that can represent you well, because we have people calling us all the time wanting to sell our product, but they don't really fit in with what we do. So we do most of our sales in-house. We have very few resellers out there in the community. And after sales, the support is just as needed, man. Is you gotta have what you gotta have. I mean, when I walked in this morning, I walked in to the studio right here, and there's 3 people in here, 3 highly paid people as well. So I need to be demanding when I had 3 people working on the studio this morning.
Yes, sir. I've got a curious question. Maybe we could add to this.
Okay.
I listen to a lot of people talk about this sort of subject, but more in the regards to logos and brand strategy and the like, making packages like that.
Uh-huh.
And they always say, the ones who are making a killing, of course, will tell you, every time you get a new client, the prices go up a little bit. So when do you think, in general, you should start scaling your prices themselves?
I totally disagree with that.
Totally disagree.
I mean, I don't know where you got that information, but show me the book, and I would say if this was the book that told you that, which it might be because it's called The Social Capitalist. I didn't read this book. I don't know why it's in here. I guess because it's the Rich Dad Advisors. I've read every book in here except for this one. So, if this was the book that told me that every time I get a customer, my cost goes up, is that what you said?
Essentially, and obviously that's a different market. Obviously.
Okay, yeah, obviously, absolutely. They're in a bad business. Then no, you don't scale your prices up. You scale your prices down.
Okay.
Does Walmart go around raising prices?
No, sir.
When they have to, I guess they do. But no, the rollback. You want to get your products as low as possible. That's going to help you scale. Sam Walton, I read it, but it's not in here. It's volume, man. If you can get your prices down, I wish I could lower my prices. And my prices definitely don't go up, or my expenses don't go up when I get a new customer. They got a bad business model.
Well, it's obviously a commission-based thing. That's always going to be commission. I guess
Commission is the only way I would ever do anything.
Right.
I'm 100% commission. If I don't sell anything, I don't eat.
Yes, sir.
Joey, who we just talked about earlier, he gets zero salary from here. He's one of the highest paid people in the company. He gets zero unless he sells something. Commissions is the fastest path to riches. So in this open-ended conversation we've had right here, here's the two things that we've really figured out. If you're not focused on sales, you don't have a business, you have a job. And commission is the fastest path to wealth. So when my friend who texted me earlier that he needed to focus on finance, real estate, sales, and business, I don't disagree. I kind of say, why would you focus on finance and real estate? You're not an expert at either one of those things. So why would you focus on that? It's not going to becoming an expert at finance. I know a lot of people with finance degrees that don't have a lot of money. And I know a lot of people in real estate that aren't really killing it. Okay. But experts in sales and business are killing it. So you need to focus on sales and you need to find a way to work on commission. Now you can work on your own commission. You can get 100% commission if you decide you want to get into real estate and flip properties, whatever. What I would do if I was an expert at all these things, let me back up and help my friend right here. If I was an expert at hunting, fishing, gun scopes, bows, electrical, mechanical, machinery, and welding, what would you do, Smith, if you were an expert at those things to make money, to start monetizing your expertise?
Be posting them everywhere. I'm sure there are a million tutorials he could make that everybody needs help with.
Okay, but that you're giving it away, and that's fine. You should be giving it away. How are you going to make money?
Well, as you just said, commission is definitely the goal, but you want to be able to monetize whatever you're posting if possible.
I'd write a book.
Write a book. Okay.
I would write a book. If I was an expert at hunting, fishing, gun scopes, bows, electrical, mechanical, machinery, and welding, I would write a book about those things. If I was, and when I say an expert, this guy's an expert, just like you're an expert at the guitar. This guy's an expert at these things, and he needs to write a book about it. He needs to write a book about it, share some specialized knowledge that we don't know, that we would like to know. I know a lot of people who would like that would read a book about hunting, fishing, gun scopes, bows, electrical, mechanical, machinery, and welding. And then, of course, with a lot of stories in there as well. So I would write a book. I would monetize. I would have a book on Amazon just as soon as I could sit down and write the book. The book would be on Amazon. So, my friend, write a book and study on. So if you write a book, Smith, every time you sell that book, you get 100% commission. Every time I sell this book for $10, it was $20. It's worth $1 million. But every time I sell this book for $10, I get 100% of the profit. 100%. That's an asset. That's not a liability. Okay. So sales, focus on commission. Understand that commission is the fastest way to true wealth. And you can get 100% of the commission. If it's your product and you own the product and you sell it, you get 100% commission. For instance, my product is this call center and this book, but right now the events that I sell are mine. They come with they have a cost. That cost doesn't go up when I add dealers, it goes down. But as I have a cost, let's say the cost is $6,000 and we sell the product for $7,000, $8,000. Let's say we sell it for $8,000 and the cost is $6,000. If one of my salespeople sells it, they get 50% of the commission. So they make $1,000. If I sell it, I get 100% of the commission. I get $2,000. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So let's talk about some of the things that I can teach you in these books right here that you don't have to spend 10 years. This right here is very fitting that tomorrow's election day. This is Trump and the Art of the Deal. So I tell you what I learned most in this book right here. It doesn't matter if you love Trump or hate Trump, you can learn from him. I learned that the telephone is the most important tool that you can have, because back when he was just in real estate, not in politics, that's when this was written, the man would spend from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. on the telephone with somebody. And I also learned that white space on the calendar is the devil. Grant articulated that as well. Working 100 hours a week is probably your fastest path to riches. 100 hours a week is probably your fastest path to riches. What do you think about that, Smith?
Say that one more time.
Working 100 hours per week.
Oh, absolutely. Because you're going to outdo everyone else.
Yep.
Most people aren't willing to do it.
This was a pretty fun book. Be Obsessed or Be Average, Grant Cardone. He's sitting on top of his jet. I learned so much from this, but I talk about that all the time, so no sense in going on that. Think and Grow Rich. Okay, people talk about this book all the time. Have you ever read it, Smith?
I have not yet, no.
Probably not going to be rich until you read it.
Okay. I do plan on getting the audiobook. I was going to start with Rich Dad, Poor Dad, but to be completely honest, I'm in the middle of Faust right now. I do love my my fiction, to be honest.
Okay, so you value fiction over being wealthy.
My fear in these situations is if I start two things at once, I won't finish either one.
But that's
you
and there's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
I think eventually, because if you're not hungry for riches, you know what? Back up.
Okay.
Right here. Be obsessed or be average. You have to be absolutely obsessed with what it is that you want. And I've been obsessed with riches for a long time. You know how much fiction I read?
Probably zero.
I read I read one book per week for 10 years. I've read hundreds of books. If you do the math, that may be 1,000. I don't know. Yeah, it's over 1,000. Isn't it? 52 was 52 times. No, it's about 520.
52 times what now again?
10?
10? Yeah, 520.
Yeah. So I read over 500 books. None of them fiction, other than The Alchemist, which was still had some based in, some.
So do you read any fiction that is, commentary on social or political ideas? I mean, 1984, Brave New World, Fahrenheit, what is it, 471? Nothing like that.
Don't have time.
Got it.
Don't have time. So let's talk about Grant. Now, people like to talk about Grant. A lot of people like to talk about him in a bad way. But this book right here, Be Obsessed or Be Average. See, so I got when I read this book, I said, here's a guy sitting on top of his jet. Be obsessed or be average. I asked myself, does he know what he's talking about? Is what he says true? Feed the beast. What to be obsessed with, right there, chapter 3. What to be obsessed with. If he says to be obsessed, and you've heard so many people on this show tell you, you get what you focus on. So, is that true?
Definitely.
So you're going to get Faust in your life. And I'm going to get what all these books talk about, which is money. So if I'm going to spend an hour a day training and reading, everything we do is either adding to or taking away from our goals. And Faust isn't going to help me hit my goals unless I want to be
German playwright.
Yes, sir. Tribes, Seth Godin. See, you can learn from liberals too. This guy's very liberal. Mm-hmm. But what I learned from Tribes is there is a market for your product, whatever your product is. If you want to be a German playwright, then there's a market for that. If you want to have a paid podcast, or I wouldn't recommend that, but if you want to write a book on fishing and hunting, there's a market for that. Doesn't matter how many people are in there. There's a market for that. There's a market. They're tribes. We live in a very tribal time. One of the most liberal people I've ever followed on Twitter, can't stand most of his posts, Scott Galloway, taught, and this book changed my life because it taught me the power of Facebook, Amazon, Google, and Apple. and how to use those products properly. The most important thing it taught me was Facebook is the most effective way to reach people with any product that you have. So you don't have to read the book. Who Moved My Cheese? Spencer Johnson, medical doctor. It's about two rats. This is a fiction story. There you go. Here's your fiction story you can read, Smith. It's 83 pages, less than 100 pages. Who Moved My Cheese? Well, the most important thing that taught me was that you have to be willing to change. You have to know that change is coming. You can't expect to do it the way it's always been done. 100 pages, right to this probably 400 pages. Now, you want to talk about somebody who takes his time when he reads a book. I mean, when he writes a book. He's no Spencer. He's no Grant. He's no Billy. Our books are smaller. This thing's huge, exhaustive, you would say. And he's definitely qualified to teach you about money. Tony Robbins, this book, you know what? There's 497 pages right there. So it's over 500 pages. Honestly, I've learned more than a lot of these other books. Some people write
concise.
Yeah. Some people write because they want to have a big, thick book, exhaustive. The most important thing I read that I learned in here was the power of compounding interest. And, I mean, you know, you could learn that a lot. Didn't take 500 pages for that. Laura Langenmeyer. I just like saying her name. Laura Langenmeyer. Cash Machine for Life. What I learned from this lady was before you have, because so many people like to talk about multiple streams of income. Multiple streams of income. You got to have multiple streams of income. Well, more important than multiple streams of income is a cash cow. That's what she says. Cash machine for life. So you got to find the one thing that's going to make you the most money and feed the beast. You got to pour it all into that. And then when you have that automatic cash cow, it may be something that you don't like doing. Let's say that you're an excellent roofer and you're good at roof sales, like our friend Dale Childress Jr. Now, he loves it, but let's say you hated selling roofs. You hated it, but you made a lot of money doing it. Doesn't matter that you hate it. You need to do it. Feed that cash cow until your multiple streams of income can compensate for when you stop doing that. You can't stop the cow. So many people want to talk about follow your passion. Not if you want to be rich. You follow the money, and then the money will give you the freedom to follow your passion. That's what she taught me. This is a big one. The Warren Buffett way. You know, he's never written a book.
You said that last time, yes?
Yep, I did. Basically the same thing as Tony Robbins. I guess the reason he hadn't written a book because it's so simple. Invest for the long haul. Keep buying, buy, never sell, buy. Basically, he said what Robert Kiyosaki said in one of these books in here. Just keep buying assets. Keep buying assets. So we don't have to go through all of them because I can give you the third key to this conversation right here. Right there it is, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He said it best and he made it simple. You could read this one book and you wouldn't have to read any of the other ones. Rich people become wealthy by buying assets. Poor people become poor or middle class by buying liabilities. Actually, rich people buy assets. Poor people buy liabilities. And middle class people buy liabilities and think they're assets.
Say that rings true. I think we have a bad habit of buying a lot of stupid things in general, to be honest.
Like what? What's some stupid things that you bought? Let's ask if our audience as well. What's some stupid things that you bought? Or what's something that you bought that you don't know if it's an asset or a liability, if you're willing to say that?
That I don't know.
I was talking to the audience, but I can talk to you as well.
Well, I definitely... This is one where I'm actually interested in the market itself as well, but I have definitely broken down and bought a few of those, what do they call them, microtransactions in your quote unquote free to play video games.
Mm-hmm.
That's a stupid purchase every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, you get that high for a second, you know, you get hit with that dopamine.
Yep.
But it's not worth anything.
No. Well, I mean, honestly, you know, until you start reading sales books and stuff other than Faust, you're not going to make good decisions anyway.
All right.
A lot of people buy a house and think that it's a an asset, but it's not. Man, trust me, it's not. So, should be taught in grade school. Yes, it should. So, here's some places that you can put your money. Cash. I'm looking at my financials right here. Cash. Your business account. Gold and silver, stocks, retirement. Some places you might have money or net worth that you don't even think about is accounts receivable. Your accounts receivable always should be bigger than your accounts payable for sure. Farmland, that's a big one. It's a big expense. And if it wasn't for a tax vehicle, it definitely wouldn't be considered an asset. It's not an asset. It's a huge expense. And that's why it's such a tax write-off. So you better like the things that you do on your farm, because it's not an asset. Very, very little. The pine trees, you can sell the pine trees. Rental houses, asset. The house you live in, not an asset. Office buildings, your equipment, all these things that we're doing at this office, that's an asset. Aircraft. An airplane that goes 220 miles an hour. Huge asset. Matter of fact, we're going to be going to Palm Beach tomorrow to see a dealer down there. That aircraft that goes 220 miles per hour can get us there, even though it's burning 15 to 20 gallons of fuel per hour. It can get us there and get us back in the same day and allow us to see 10 times as many people. So a lot of people don't buy an aircraft, but they'll buy a house. A lot of people have a Rolex, but they don't have an airplane. That's stupid. So this will be a good sound bite to run later. I'm going to give you an example of being smart with money and being stupid with money. A very smart purchase is an aircraft that will allow you to see 10 times more people twice as fast. A stupid purchase is a Rolex. Anybody who has a Rolex but doesn't have an aircraft is not that financially savvy. As a matter of fact, they're not savvy at all. An aircraft is an investment, an asset. A Rolex is just stupid. How many of you have a Rolex but you don't have an aircraft? Might create some hate today.
Not I, thank goodness. I escaped this one.
Well, at least you got that right. But no, man, you should a Rolodex over your net worth. Your net worth is your net worth. Rolodex over Rolex. Aircraft, King Air over Rolex. I don't have a King Air. I have a Baron. I have a twin engine Baron. It's not quite King Air status yet. But I did talk to a guy yesterday who good friend of mine. I wish he would hop on here and say it's okay to say his name. I try not to tell too many stories without getting people's approval. But I have a friend of mine, he's in the car business, massively successful in the car business. He doesn't like to fly. I don't think he has a Rolex, but he is very good at buying and acquiring assets. He buys cars, he buys businesses, he scales, he expands his business. He started with one car lot. Now he has, I think, 4 car lots. And so let me explain something to you about how the biggest way a car could be an asset is if you are a car dealer. You can buy a $5,000 car, refurb it, sell it for $7,000-$8,000. You could be the bank on it. You could finance that car and turn $5,000 into $15,000 over about a period of 3 to 4 years. That's an asset. That's a huge asset. And that a lot of people do that, but a lot of people don't scale. They want to stay small, and they, if you're not scaling, again, you're not really, you don't have a business, you have a hobby or either a job. But my friend, I'm pretty sure he does not have a Rolex. If he does, that's fine, because he's got many, many businesses. And at some point, it's okay to have a Rolex, but just not while you're in the early stages of your business. Every dollar you spend needs to be back into your business. We bought this building. Okay. We tore out every wall. We put in new sound system. We put in a studio. We put in new furniture everywhere, new phone system, new computer systems. We've spent tons of money on this, put a new asphalt parking lot out there. But that's something that's going to make us money in the future. Any new comments?
Don't believe so.
OPM, other people's money. Now, here's one. This is pretty interesting right here. It's best to use other people's money, like a bank. For some reason, banks don't like me. You know how much of the bank's money I used to build my house or buy this office or buy the farm?
I'd have no clue, to be honest.
Zero.
Oh.
Yep. Banks do not like new businesses. They don't like abstract ideas. They're very ultra conservative. They want that. I mean, I could go get a mortgage on my house, or I could go get a loan, for the business we're in, for the building or whatever. But they would want, 20% down and higher than, interest rates at 0%. They'd probably want 7% or something like that. And I'm like, no, they should, in my opinion, these banks should be coming to me saying, hey, Billy, let us help you. Let us do this. But they're scared. I actually got turned down for a loan on my airplane.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That is shocking.
Tell me about it. Yeah. So, the good news is I don't have any debt, but the bad news is I'm not taking advantage of other people's money. What I should have is all these things we made investments in. I should be using the bank's money at a very low interest rate, and that would allow me to scale even faster. That would allow me leverage. Now, leverage is a good thing. You can't get too much leverage. Now, let me stop right here and say I need now there's very few people that know the benefits of leverage that are qualified to give me advice, but I'll say this. But this is a point in the show, this is total transparency, where like that car dealer I was telling you about that scaled up to four dealerships really fast, that's looking at aircraft now. He knows how to use other people's money. And that's, back to Donald Trump. He knows how to use other people's money. People talk about all the debt that he has. Debt's good because you get to use that's somebody else's money. You don't have to use your money. I need help using other people's money because right now I'm only using Billy's money. Which is good though, because you know what? Go ahead. What were you going to ask?
I was just going to ask, there's almost always a ratio here of some sort. Maybe you have the opinion that you should just embrace the risk, but how much of other people's money would you quote unquote invest into compared to what you already have, like solid income, whatever you actually have stored away? I don't know the proper word for that. Net worth, maybe.
Well, okay. So great questions. Now, I would highly advise start reading books like this and listening to podcasts about money rather than Faust. But I'll still take your question and answer it for you. I'll answer it in the form of a question. So now, by the way, let me back. I do have one rental house that the banks, we bought it, then got a loan for it. So I'll give you the exact scenario. April said, "Hey, this house is for sale. You can actually go. Well, I don't know the address, but it's on Walker Street right here." She said, "This house is for sale. $170,000. It's in a good location. It's relatively new. I think it's a good price, and I think it'd be a good investment to rent out." I said, "Okay, let's take a look at it." I think we actually paid 160, 160 for the house. Okay, now it's in a good. Stay with me here. Robert Kiyosaki, I'll give you the answer you're looking for. Robert Kiyosaki would say, okay, you need to make 10 to 15% on your investment. So you'd have to rent that house out for $1,600 a month, or let's say you did put 20% down. What's 20% of 160,000?
32,000.
So you put $32,000 down, and let's say you got a mortgage or a loan on the house for the difference there, and your mortgage cost you $1,400 per month. You would, how many times? So your mortgage is $1,400, and your rent is you can rent it out for $1,500 per month. Say that the $1,400 includes all your taxes and all your expenses. It costs you $1,400 per month to buy that house using other people's money. Okay. All right. So let me break this down so this is a very good specialized knowledge that most people don't know. You buy a house, you put 20% down, you can rent that house out for $1,500 per month, and all your expenses are $1,400 per month. So you're netting $100 per month. How many times can you afford to do that?
I'm not even sure what math I should be doing, to be honest.
Every time. You can afford to do it every single time.
Okay.
You can afford to do that infinitely. If you have more money coming in on the rent than it costs you to pay to service the debt.
Right. So you just put that money right back into it.
Well, what you're doing is you're using two people's money. You're using the bank's money to buy the house. You with me?
Yes.
And you're using the renter's money to pay the mortgage. Okay? So Robert Kiyosaki says you can do that infinitely. Now, if you put down 20%, the mortgage and all your expenses are $1,400 per month, and you can rent it for $1,100 per month, but it's a beautiful house and they're paying it down. How many times can you afford to do that?
They're actually buying it, you said? Was that?
Nope. So I'll your mortgage and your expenses on the house is $1,500 per month. The rent that you can receive is $1,200 per month. But see, that's going towards paying down the debt on the house. So they're helping you pay for it. How many times can you afford to do that?
Same answer as before, right?
No, the exact opposite. Zero.
Opposite. Zero. Okay.
You can't afford to do that. That's a cash negative investment, which is stupid. So many people do it. So many people will buy a house and rent it out for less than the mortgage and the expenses are. You're gonna go broke doing that. Now, I mean, it may be fair to say that buying a house and paying cash for it like we did, and then Grant would definitely say that's stupid. Grant would say paying a house off is stupid.
Right. Never pay it off.
Never pay it off. So here's why. So after we bought the house, started renting it out for $1,100 a month. I like a better location over a better cash flow. So you can spend way less money and get better cash flow. Like you can buy in a poor part of town or a sketchy part of town, and get something that costs $100,000 that may cash flow at $2,000 per month, or twice as much as your mortgage would be, but there's going to be zero appreciation those parts of town. So in this part of town that we bought this house in, I expect that it's already worth 180. It's still speculating, still not an asset. That's still speculation. He does not teach speculation. Just telling you what we did. We paid cash for it and then said, you know what? Let's get a mortgage on it. And here's why. So let's say I bought the house for $100,000. I sold it for $200,000. I made $100,000, right?
Yes, sir.
If I don't reinvest that money, then I'm going to have to pay taxes on that. It's capital gains tax. However, if I buy the house for $100,000, it appreciates. It becomes worth $200,000. And I go to the bank and I say, you know what? I want to borrow $150,000 on this house. The tenant is going to pay for it. The tenant's going to pay the mortgage back with the rent that they pay me. Does that make sense?
So yes.
You think so? Okay, so let's make sure, because I sometimes I can speak and expect people to understand what I'm saying. You buy a house for $100,000. 10 years later, it's worth $200,000. You can go to the bank and get a mortgage for $150,000 on that house. Now your tenant is making rent to you every day, and you can take that money, and it's more than enough to pay for the mortgage at the bank. You with me?
Yes, sir.
How much tax do I have to pay on that $150,000 that I got from the bank? Zero, because it's a loan. See, that's what rich people teach. You use the bank's money, other people's money, to buy the house, or as it appreciates over time, now you can go get more money from the bank. The tenant is going to make the payment, pay you, use that money to pay the bank back. It continues to appreciate, and the $150,000 that you got from the bank, you owe zero taxes on, so you can invest that somewhere else. But I don't have any banks helping me, so can't do that. Now, the Closer Survival Guide. If you're in sales, if you're in car sales, and you haven't read this book, you're not serious about your sales career. Let me show you something right here. This is my personal notes right there. And it's filled. This whole book's filled. Nobody told me to do that. That's something that I did because I was serious about my money. So we've already ran over an hour. Own your own corporation. Tax-free wealth. Here's the most important thing I can tell you today. Number one, if you're an expert at something, you need to learn to monetize it. It can be hunting, fishing, knife building, canoeing. If you're a real expert, then you can write a book on it. When you write a book on it, you can sell that book and you can get 100% commission from every book that you sell. The second thing is you need to figure out a way to earn commissions. Commissions are the fastest path to riches. Commissions are the fastest path to riches. And you need to learn the difference between an asset and a liability. So those are three things right there, 3 bullet points after an open-ended conversation. Sales cures all. If you're not selling, you don't have a business. If you're not a business owner, you don't have a business, you have a job. You're going to pay more in taxes. If you don't know the difference between an asset and a liability, you're going to struggle. And something we learned about Billy today, I'm not very good at using other people's money. I'm going to get better, though. I need a bank.
Just your own.
Well, right now, basically, it's the Bank of Billy right now.
Right.
It's the Bank of Billy. I want to like the Bank of America or the World Bank. Get some of those Rockefeller dollars.
Oh, yeah. All
right, guys. Hey, tomorrow's a very important day. If you think that the president matters. By the way, I want to talk about something on that. You know, they always ask, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? What about you, Smith? Are you better off than you were 4 years ago?
Definitely.
Or let's use this in a clip as well that we can run today. I have a question about the presidential election, or at least the cycle. 4 years ago, what were you doing? Are you better off today than you were 4 years ago? Personally, I was close to broke 4 years ago, and I'm a long way from it today. And I have to at least think that that somehow has something to do with the president. So I'm going to go vote for Trump. I invite you to vote for whoever you think you need to vote for, and ask yourself, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? See you tomorrow.